She was certain she had died. The last memory burned into her mind was fire swallowing the royal bridge of her flagship. Blinding explosions. Metal tearing apart. Her elite guards falling as the enemy fleet pierced through Zarathian defenses like paper. The air filled with smoke, alarms, and the screams of her crew. Then nothing. No sound. No pain. No light. Just endless silence. Death. That is what Queen Elyndra of the Zarathian Empire believed had claimed her. But then, she felt something impossible. Warmth. Not the violent heat of explosions. Not the freezing emptiness of space. This warmth was soft, calm, gentle. Her eyelids twitched. She forced them open. White light flooded her vision. She blinked slowly, trying to focus. The ceiling above her was unfamiliar. Smooth metallic panels, soft lights, faint rhythmic beeping sounds echoing around her. She tried to move. A sharp pain shot through her body, and a low gasp escaped her throat. That's when she heard it. A voice. Calm. Deep. Strangely soothing. Easy. Don't try to move yet. You're safe. Safe? Her eyes shifted toward the sound, and she saw him, a creature standing beside her. Tall. 2 arms. 2 legs. No scales. No armor. No royal markings. His skin smooth. His face expressive. His posture relaxed. Alien. But what stunned her the most, he was smiling. Gently. Not the smile of a conqueror. Not the smile of a captor. But the smile of someone relieved she was alive. She stared at him, unable to speak. He noticed. Hey! He said softly, raising his hands slightly. It's okay. You're not in danger. My name's Daniel. You're on a human medical ship. Human. Her mind struggled to process the word. Humans were considered a minor species. Traders. Mechanics. Observers. They never interfered in galactic wars. They certainly did not rescue alien queens from destroyed warships. Her voice came out weak and trembling. I died. Daniel shook his head gently. No, he said. You didn't. We found you drifting in an escape pod. You were barely alive. Her breathing quickened. You saved me? He nodded, still calm, still smiling in that impossibly gentle way. For a long moment, she simply stared at him. This fragile-looking being, this soft-faced alien, had done what entire fleets could not. Saved the queen of the Zarathian Empire. And he didn't even look afraid. He looked kind. You're going to be okay, Daniel said quietly. For the first time since the war began, Queen Elyndra felt something she had not felt in many cycles. Not fear, not anger, not command, but something far more dangerous. Trust. She slowly turned her head, scanning the room. Strange equipment surrounded her. Tubes connected to her arms. Soft lights blinked on unfamiliar machines. The air smelled clean, sterile, peaceful. Nothing like a battlefield. Where are we? She whispered. Far from the war zone, Daniel replied. Our patrol ship picked up your pod near a debris field. You were lucky. Another few minutes and you wouldn't have made it. Lucky. A queen of the most powerful empire in the quadrant. Saved by luck. And by a human. She tried to sit up again. Pain forced her back down. Daniel gently placed a hand in the air, not touching her, but signaling her to rest. Your body went through extreme trauma. Just breathe. You're safe here. Safe. That word echoed in her mind again. She had commanded fleets, destroyed enemies, ruled over billions. And yet, this was the first time in months she actually felt safe. Her eyes returned to his face. Why? She asked weakly. Daniel looked confused. Why what? Why did you save me? He frowned slightly, as if the question itself made no sense. Because you were alive, he said simply. And humans don't leave living beings to die in space. She stared at him. No politics. No fear. No calculation. Just humanity. In that moment, Queen Elyndra realized something shocking. The galaxy had completely misunderstood humans. And she had just woken up in the care of one. She didn't know it yet, But this gentle human smile would become the reason the entire galaxy would rethink everything it believed about humanity. Queen Elyndra's eyes remained closed as the warmth of the human's presence enveloped her. The soft hum of machinery around her was oddly soothing, a stark contrast to the screams of war she had just endured. She tried to move again, but a gentle hand pressed down, stopping her. "Don't try to get up yet," Daniel said. His voice had the calm authority of someone who had faced far worse but chosen kindness instead. "Your body has been through extreme trauma. I need you to rest." She wanted to speak, to demand answers, but her throat felt parched. Her mind raced. How had a human, a species she had long dismissed as insignificant, reached her first? How had he managed to pull her from death when entire fleets of her own people had failed? Her pride waged war with her survival instincts. "You're awake," Daniel said, observing her struggle. "I've been monitoring your vitals. Stable now. You're strong. Stronger than I expected." Elyndra's lips parted, but no sound came. Instead, she focused on the human's hands, noticing the tiny scratches, the faint burn marks on his forearms. He had risked himself. For her, a queen, someone who wielded power over billions, and he did it without hesitation. "Why?" she whispered, finally finding her voice. Daniel's smile didn't falter. "Because I could, and because no one deserves to die alone, especially not in a war like this." The words were simple, but they struck her harder than any blow she had ever taken. In the midst of destruction, in the heart of chaos, this human had chosen mercy. And it was a choice that would forever alter her perception of humanity. Slowly, she opened her eyes fully. Their violet depths met his calm blue gaze. For the first time in many cycles, she did not feel the familiar rush of fear or the cold certainty of command. She felt curiosity and a flicker of hope. Daniel handed her a small glass of liquid, something cool and refreshing. She drank carefully, letting the liquid soothe her parched throat. The subtle taste of sweetness reminded her of home, an ironic comfort given how far she now was from her palace, from her people, from her entire world. "You're wondering why you're here, aren't you?" Daniel asked, reading her expression as if he could see into her mind. Elyndra gave a slight nod. Words still escaped her, but the gesture spoke volumes. "You were found floating near the debris field," he continued. "We traced the escape pods, scanned the hull fragments, and somehow we found you before the others. It's rare, miraculous, even miraculous." She considered the word carefully. Her empire had faced many battles, but nothing in her reign could compare to the improbability of this moment. One human, acting on instinct and compassion, had preserved the life of the Zorathian queen. Her body was exhausted, but her mind refused to rest. Questions swirled. Who were these humans capable of such precision, such bravery, such kindness? How could a species so underestimated hold such strength? And most importantly, what did this mean for the galaxy? Daniel adjusted a panel on the nearby console. "I need to check your vitals again," he said softly. "And then we'll have to figure out how to get you back to safety. The galaxy isn't quiet anymore. Your people, your enemies, they'll all be looking for you." Elyndra absorbed his words. For the first time, she realized her situation was not just about survival. It was about opportunity. She had been given a second chance, a chance to see humanity up close, to understand it, to reconsider everything she had believed about the lesser species of the stars. And as she lay there in the soft glow of the human ship, she made a silent vow. Whoever this human was, whatever the odds, she would remember this act. She would honor it, and perhaps she would learn from it. For now, though, all she could do was rest, and let the human tend to her wounds. A queen who had survived impossible odds. A human who had defied all expectations. And somewhere in the quiet hum of the ship, a new story of trust, courage, and unlikely alliances was beginning to unfold. Elyndra lay still for a moment, letting the ship's hum and Daniel's presence wash over her. Her body ached, but her mind was sharper than it had been in cycles. Curiosity gnawed at her. You could have left me, she said quietly, her voice still weak. A human doesn't intervene in the affairs of empires. Daniel shook his head, eyes calm. Not all humans are predictable. Some of us act on instinct, on empathy, on the chance to do the right thing. She raised an eyebrow, a flicker of amusement breaking through the pain. Empathy, a strange concept to assign to your kind. Most of your species are reckless. He smiled faintly. Reckless, yes, but also creative, adaptable, and stubborn beyond reason. That's why we survive. Elyndra studied him. He was ordinary, yet something about him radiated confidence without arrogance. His calm demeanor suggested he had faced danger countless times and chosen courage every time. Why did you risk yourself? She asked. A queen, one of the most hunted beings in the quadrant. A pawn in countless wars. Because it was the right thing to do, he replied simply. Because no one deserves to die alone in space. And because I've seen what underestimating humans can cost. Trust me, it's better to act than to wait for instructions. Her violet eyes widened slightly. For the first time, she felt a strange pull. Not fear, not suspicion, but trust. Dangerous trust. I should be commanding fleets, she said, voice firmer now. Deciding fates, strategizing battles. Yet here I lie, saved by a human. He tilted his head, considering her words. And yet, here you are, alive. Which proves one thing, humans can change outcomes that others thought inevitable. A spark ignited within Elyndra. A concept she had never entertained. The notion that humans, weak and underestimated as she had believed, could be a force capable of altering galactic events. She looked around the ship, at its smooth metallic walls and soft glowing lights. Technology different from anything her empire had developed, yet somehow functional, efficient, and elegant. How is your species capable of this? She asked. The engineering, the precision, the timing. You rescued me before anyone even noticed. Daniel's eyes glimmered faintly. Humans survive by improvising. We think outside predictable rules. We adapt when others freeze. It's instinct. Elyndra considered this. Perhaps the galaxy had underestimated humanity for centuries. Perhaps the so-called minor species could achieve what massive fleets could not. And perhaps her survival wasn't just luck. It was proof. She inhaled deeply, testing her strength. If what you say is true, then my fate is not entirely in my empire's hands. No, Daniel said softly. It's in yours and mine now by circumstance. But humans? We rarely fail when we decide to act. Her lips curved into a faint, reluctant smile. You are bold for a human. Recklessly bold. And you, he replied, are lucky you met one. For a long moment, the only sound was the soft hum of the ship, the rhythm of life sustained by human ingenuity. Elyndra realized that this was more than survival. It was the beginning of an alliance, however unexpected. An alien queen, a human, and a galaxy that neither fully understood, all converging in one impossible moment. She had been saved, but the story, she felt, had only begun. The Starlight Guardian glided silently through the debris-littered void. Elyndra still weak but sitting upright now, supported by Daniel. Her violet eyes scanned the console, taking in the alien technology with curiosity she had never felt before. Daniel's hands moved expertly across the ship's controls. We have a situation, he said, his voice calm but urgent. A transport freighter is trapped near a collapsing asteroid field. Life support failing. If we don't act fast. Elyndra's heart raced. She had seen countless warnings ignored by commanders, fleets destroyed by hesitation. Then we must act, she said, surprising herself with the firmness in her voice. Show me the way. Daniel's eyebrows lifted. You want to come? I want to see it, she replied. I need to understand the situation firsthand. The jump through the asteroid field was chaotic.
Masive rocks spun unpredictabili.
Energy pulses from fractured stars lit the void in flashes of white and blue. Alarms screamed through the ship. Every instinct screamed danger. Yet Daniel remained calm, rerouting power manually, adjusting shields with a precision that defied human limits. Elyndra watched, fascinated and unnerved. The humans' confidence was contagious. Somehow, against all odds, they navigated the field unscathed. The trapped freighter came into view, a battered vessel spinning slowly, its engines barely functional. Smoke and sparks erupted from its hull. Elyndra could see terrified crew members through shattered viewports. Daniel gestured. I need to board. I can stabilize them from inside, but it's dangerous. Radiation spikes, gravity distortions. It's not going to be easy. Elyndra's voice was quiet, but determined. I'll stay here and assist. Guide me. Together, they entered the shuttle bay. The small craft shook violently as they moved closer to the freighter. Elyndra gripped the console, her violet eyes absorbing every detail. Energy readings, structural weaknesses, life support failures. Daniel floated alongside her, adjusting his own equipment. We'll have one chance at this, he said. Follow my lead. Time slowed. Every decision mattered. Elyndra saw the human reroute power through failing conduits, manually bypass corrupted systems, and improvise solutions that no alien protocol had prepared her for. You're extraordinary, she whispered, awe creeping into her voice. He glanced at her, a faint smile playing on his lips. We humans survive, and we improvise. That's how we manage what others fail to even try. The freighter shuddered violently as a fragment from the asteroid belt collided with its hull. Elyndra flinched, but Daniel remained composed. Focus on the stabilizers, he instructed. I've got the power reroutes. Together, they worked seamlessly. Elyndra followed his guidance, rerouting auxiliary power to critical life support, patching conduits, stabilizing oxygen systems. The crew aboard the freighter watched in disbelief as life returned to the vessel. Finally, the systems hummed steadily. Lights stabilized. Life support indicators returned to green. The freighter crew erupted in cheers. Elyndra let out a deep breath, her body trembling with exhaustion. She turned to Daniel. I underestimated your species, she admitted. They thought humans were insignificant. I see now we were wrong. Daniel smiled, but his eyes remained sharp. We rarely fail when we decide to act. And sometimes, we do more than survive. We change outcomes. Elyndra's mind raced. Humanity, underestimated. Capable, unpredictable, dangerous in ways no empire had calculated. As they piloted the freighter back to safety, Elyndra realized something profound. This human, this fragile, smiling creature, had just shown her the power of ingenuity, courage, and the unpredictable strength of humanity. And she knew, deep in her core, that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was watching. Fleets, empires, and alliances. And one human had already begun to alter how it perceived life, courage, and survival. Queen Elyndra's eyes glimmered with a mix of respect, wonder, and a spark she had not felt in cycles. Hope. The freighter was safely out of the asteroid belt, but Elyndra's mind raced faster than the engines could take her. She had seen human ingenuity firsthand, calm under chaos, precise under pressure, and fearless when lives were on the line. Daniel glanced at her, noting the intensity in her eyes. You're thinking about what just happened, he said softly. I am, Elyndra admitted. You saved my life. You saved others' lives. And you did it without hesitation, without calculation. Most of my fleet would have waited for orders, or hesitated until it was too late. He smiled faintly. We humans act when others doubt. We adapt. And sometimes, we surprise everyone, including ourselves. Elyndra studied him. There was something about his presence, something compelling, something that demanded trust. I need to understand this, she said. Your species, your instinct. It is unlike anything my empire has encountered. I need to learn from it. Daniel raised an eyebrow. Learn? From me? Yes, she said, voice firm now. I may be a queen, but knowledge is power. And I want to understand the humans who can do what fleets cannot. A flicker of amusement crossed Daniel's face. You really are curious, aren't you? Elyndra nodded. Curiosity is survival. I survived because of you. Now, I intend to understand why. Before Daniel could respond, the ship's sensors pinged with multiple alerts. Distress signals scattered across a nearby sector. Merchant convoys under attack, research vessels in danger, and an uncharted anomaly disrupting communications. He scanned the readings. This is bad. Most fleets would avoid this area entirely. Radiation spikes, unstable grav fields, unknown combatants. It's practically a death zone. Elyndra leaned over the console. Then we will go. We have the chance to act where others hesitate. I want to see humans in action, and perhaps participate myself. Daniel's lips curved into a small, impressed smile. Bold. Very bold. All right, let's do it together. The jump through the sector was turbulent. Space debris, energy storms, and unstable warp nodes tested the ship's shields. Daniel's hands moved swiftly across the controls, rerouting power, recalibrating shields, and plotting unpredictable flight paths. Elyndra watched closely, memorizing every action. Humans, she realized, did not follow rigid strategies. They adapted in real time, improvising solutions that no Empire protocol could account for. The first convoy came into view. A series of cargo ships trapped in a radiation field, engines failing, lives at stake. Elyndra felt a rush of determination. We can save them, she said. Guide me. Daniel nodded. Stay close. Follow my lead. Timing is everything. Together they coordinated. Elyndra rerouted auxiliary power under Daniel's instruction, stabilizing failing engines. She patched broken communication links, guided the trapped crews, and improvised a solution to push the convoy out of danger. The operation was flawless. One by one, ships regained power, navigated to safety, and the lives of hundreds of beings were preserved. All thanks to a human and the unlikely alien queen at his side. Elyndra's heart pounded, not from fear, but from awe. This is what humans can do, she murmured. You act when others freeze. You improvise when others follow protocol blindly. You survive, and more importantly, you make a difference. Daniel glanced at her, a faint smirk on his face. You're learning fast. Humans rarely give themselves credit for the impossible. But you're beginning to see it clearly. For the first time, Elyndra felt a profound respect for a species she had long underestimated. And she realized something even more unsettling. In the grand chessboard of the galaxy, humans were not pawns. They were unpredictable, resourceful, and capable of shaping outcomes beyond anyone's calculation. The stars stretched endlessly before them. And in that moment, both human and queen understood something fundamental. Their partnership had just begun, and the galaxy was about to witness the impossible. The sector was silent, almost eerily so. Elyndra floated beside Daniel, watching the stars streak past as their ship approached the anomaly. The readings were chaotic energy spikes, distorted space-time, and unknown signals that no empire had catalogued. This is unstable, Daniel muttered, his fingers dancing over the controls. One wrong move, and we could lose everything. Elyndra studied the displays. Yet here we are, humans and queens, daring what entire fleets would avoid. You adapt. You improvise. You survive. He glanced at her, faint pride in his eyes. We do what we must. And sometimes we do what others refuse to try. A massive energy burst erupted ahead. Elyndra's heart leapt, but she followed Daniel's lead, guiding auxiliary systems to stabilize the ship. Every instinct, every decision mattered. One miscalculation could spell disaster. Minutes stretched like hours, tension thick in the cabin. Yet with each precise maneuver, each quick adjustment, the trapped vessels and research stations in the area were stabilized. Lives saved. Chaos contained. Elyndra realized something profound. Humans weren't just survivors, they were catalysts. In a galaxy that expected them to fail, they acted, adapted, and altered outcomes no one thought possible. Daniel's voice broke her thoughts. Sectors stable. For now. Everyone's safe. We did it. She nodded slowly, respect and awe in her eyes. You've shown me humans are not minor players in this galaxy. They are extraordinary. He smiled gently. Sometimes, it just takes someone like you to see it clearly. As the ship sailed onward, Elyndra allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. Humanity, she realized, was unpredictable, ingenious, and resilient, and together they could achieve what even empires thought impossible. The galaxy had not yet seen the full extent of human courage, but it would. And Elyndra, the queen who had once ruled alone, now understood that the future might be guided by a species she had underestimated, and a human who had saved her life. The stars stretched endlessly around them, silent witnesses to the bond that had formed. Elyndra's violet eyes met Daniel's calm blue gaze, a mixture of gratitude, awe, and something deeper shimmering within them. You saved me more than my life, she whispered, her voice trembling. Daniel smiled softly, a gentle warmth in the emptiness of space. We humans, we act when it matters. You showed me trust, and I showed you courage. For a heartbeat, the galaxy seemed to pause. Two unlikely allies, queen and human, stood together in the quiet, knowing the universe would never be the same. Elyndra lifted her head slightly, a spark of resolve igniting. Then together we will change it. And in that silent vow, the impossible became inevitable. A human had saved a queen, and in doing so had reshaped the destiny of stars. The galaxy had a new story to tell.